The first, you got to come up and do it yourself. Okay. You got to stir it in.
There it goes.
There it goes.
There it goes.
If it was only that easy, huh?
It was, yeah. I know. There's power in making something real in the world, even if it's just to let it go of, getting it out of our mind and out of our body. It's gone.
Thank you.
One more then?
And just like that, we can let go. And now it's gone. So we're going to go back to RE for the youngest and the 4th through 6th if they want to go back. Is that right? And then the older kids can stay in the service and do your ritual. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Before we go, we're going to say our children's covenant. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
Please rise and make an arch for our kids as they're heading off to their religious exploration classes. As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Though our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Though our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Hi there, I am Leora, and I am your operations director, and Laura is away today, so I have your announcements. Our office is closed this week, and in theory, it would be open on Friday, but no one else is coming, and I'm working today, so we're just gonna come back next Monday, the 5th. I don't,
Yes,
yeah, okay, yeah.
We are now.
If you do have an emergency for pastoral care, or if you need Reverend Scott, you've got their numbers, and please feel free to reach out to them anytime. I want to remind everyone that the walkways can be really slippery here. Please don't fall. If you need help, ask. And if you would like to help with the ice and snow removal, there's a sign up at the kiosk. We deep clean our kitchen 3 times a year, and the next opportunity for you to come help clean the kitchen is January 16th. If you'd like to do that, please reply or send an email to Laura, Laura, @uufco.org. There will be a mindfulness workshop put on by our adult spiritual development team on January 11th. You can find out more about that in our ACE. And we have a new Soul Matters group. It's very rare to start a new Soul Matters group in the middle of the year, but one of the folks on our pastoral care teams just really has it on her heart to do that for anybody who didn't get a chance or just wasn't in a position to sign up in the fall. So if you would like to join a Soul Matters group, that will be January through June, and you can also find out about that in our ACE. And finally, we need more coffee help. Do you like the coffee? Are you over it? I don't know, because there's just not enough people to help make it, to clean it up, to serve it. But we really have got to have more people to help with coffee. And you don't have to do it every week. Really. once a month, every other month, just on your children's birthdays? I don't know. Figure out a way to help with coffee, and you can let Laura know when you are ready. Laura@uufco.org. Thanks.
We are grateful for what this congregation creates together. This place is an expression of all of us. In that spirit, we support this home with our time, our energy, and yes, our resources. We take our morning offering, the last of 2025, offering to support and celebrate the work of this congregation and this place that brings love, justice, fellowship, spirituality, and community into life.
This congregation shares our joys and our sorrows and our gratitudes each week as a ritual here in this fellowship. Or do we? Because no one filled them out today. If you're new or visiting, we read joys and sorrows that are lifted up from the congregation. And we also create some space to light a candle on the sides of the sanctuary if there's a joy or a sorrow in your own heart that you'd like to light a candle for. And let's all just then, if we don't have joys or sorrows or gratitudes to read out loud, let's just take a deep breath and think about this past year, the turning of the calendar, what it is that makes our heart sing this morning. Perhaps it makes our heart heavy this morning. It doesn't have to be read aloud for it to be held and cared for by the people of this congregation. You are cared for in your being here. And in your being here, you care for other people. Well, I'm going to offer a prayer from Nadia Bolt Weber. She's a minister. She's a Methodist, isn't she? She's a Lutheran. All right. She's a Lutheran minister. She's a radical minister. She has a foul mouth, and she taught me something about ministry and about how to minister. And she once made the statement that when I started ministry, I thought, well, I'm super cool. And she's really cool. She's got like tattoos and everything. She's like, oh, I'm super cool, and I'm going to create a church of super cool people. And then people showed up, all kinds of people. And she learned that a congregation is not about collecting all the super cool people that are just like you, but people that are just like all of us, and that we all hurt, and we are all wounded, and we all have the chance to heal. So she writes, she's a theist, because, she's a Lutheran. She writes, "Dear God, I woke up today exhausted after a full night's sleep. My 90-minute walk did not revive me, and a nice breakfast with lots of protein didn't seem to do the trick either. And before you ask, God, yes, I am fully hydrated. I'm hydrated and I'm weary AF. And it's getting harder not to freak out. All day long, when my thoughts get gloomy, and I say to myself, is this the end of days? Will AI take over everything, just like in the movies? Should I invest in a bunker? Do we already live through the most peaceful, prosperous time in history, and we didn't even realize that that's what it was? And now it's over, and we'll never get it back again? And so I try to redirect my thoughts to, where is beauty happening in this very moment? Who might need some help today? What are those show-offy red flowers in my neighbor's yard called? How can the sky look that beautiful? But that amount of redirection is taking up a lot of energy, God, and maybe that's contributing to the exhaustion. What I'm trying to say, God, is that if you could help me pivot my restless brain from gloom to gladness, even just like 10% faster, that could make a huge difference. Oh, and thanks for this day, and everything beautiful in my life that I did not earn or create, and for dogs, and for flowers. Amen. We'll now enjoy some silence together, or some version of quietness, as we slow our breathing, find ourselves in our body, and do nothing else. And you don't have to do anything else, except just be here for a moment. Just be.
Our reading today is from one of the most cherished passages from the Christian tradition, 1 Corinthians 1 through 13. If I speak in tongues of human beings and of angels, and I don't have love, then I'm a clanging gong or a clashing cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all the mysteries and everything else, and I have such complete faith that I can move mountains, but I don't have love. I have nothing. If I give away everything that I have and hand over my body to feel good about whatever I've done, but I don't have love, I receive no benefit whatsoever. Love is patient. Love is kind. It isn't jealous. It doesn't brag. It isn't arrogant. It isn't rude. It doesn't seek its own advantage. It isn't irritable. It doesn't keep a record of complaints. It isn't happy with injustice, but it is happy with the truth. Love puts up with all things, trusts in all things, hopes for all things, and endures all things. Love never fails. As for prophecies, they will be brought to an end. As for tongues, they will stop. As for knowledge, it will be brought to an end. We know in part and we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, what is partial will be brought to an end. When I was a child, I used to speak like a child, reason like a child, think like a child. But now that I have become a man, I've put an end to childish things. Now we see a reflection in the mirror, then we will see face to face. Now I know partially, but then I will know completely in the same way that I have been completely known. Now faith, hope, and love remain. These three things, and the greatest of these is love.
Service is titled Seeing Clearly. And when we were talking about a song to play this morning, he said, oh, there's that song, I Can See Clearly Now. The rain is gone. And then we talked, as ministers did, and we thought that might be a little too on the nose. And by this morning we said, on the nose is exactly where it should be. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that blinded me. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. Singing, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds
can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that blind me. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
Hello, friends. It's good to be with you. I see a few familiar faces out there, James and Mike, Tom and Debbie, and of course, Scott. About a week ago, Scott texted me, and Annis and Jim, I see you guys too, and he asked me if I would be available to speak here today. And so I want you to know that your pastor is pretty brave to ask a retired pastor to come and guest preach, because you see, preachers we have lots of ideas going on in our minds and our hearts, and those ideas get expressed in words. So, you know, Scott, you have an outlet every Sunday, most every Sunday, to get those ideas out in your words. We retired clergy don't have that. So we have a buildup of words in our, and so, you know, to give your pulpit to some retired pastor who might be up here dumping all the words out on you, we could be here a long time. But I promise not to dump all my words on you today. As one of my roles as a coach and spiritual director, and so I love asking good questions. And so I begin with a question today. How deep do you look at the world around you? And for the English majors, let me correct you, how deeply do you look at the world around you? In this earthly, physical world, we tend to stop our gaze at the thing we're looking at, right? For example, we look at a tree. We see leaves, we see branches and a trunk. We look at a gorgeous sunset, and we see light in brilliant colors. But there is a spiritual reality that entices us to look not just past our gaze, but present reality, to look through it, our present reality. So we all have this hope of seeing more deeply than our present vision. And many people just can't see it. We have had moments when we could not see it, which is why we need spiritual communities like yours and mine to give folks a glimpse of a deeper vision of love. So no doubt you have seen a Christian icon, a holy image created to teach the masses the Christian story. People are taught to prayerfully sit and look at an artist's rendition, usually of a saint, to the point where they can see through the icon. For the ultimate purpose of an icon is not just to see the saint, but to see them as windows that give us a glimpse of the divine as we gaze through it. But it's not just paintings that can offer us a vision of the Spirit. There is also this sense that real people can serve as windows to a spiritual realm. One way to describe the division in our country, just one way, today is to say we're not looking through people. We are looking at them. And many times we don't like what we see. And some of you are probably familiar with the Buddhist teaching of looking through people to see their skeletons. We get so caught up with what's on the outside, right? Our skin, how we look, it's wrinkled, it's not, it's brown, it's white, whatever, right? We get caught up with that. The Buddhist teaching is a brilliant idea of trying to vision people as skeletons. And when we do that, we're all the same, are we not? When I was a teenager growing up in Ohio, our pastor led a Bible study on the passage about loving your neighbor as yourself. And I was 15 or 16, and I remember asking this question: what if you don't love yourself? What if you don't love yourself? That question just sort of hung in the air because no one seemed able to respond. And if that pastor and my youth group had been able to look through my question and into my heart, they would have realized that question was a cry for help, a cry to be seen as I really was. Now, we all know that businesses have mission statements, right? Congregations have mission statements. You've got one? Do you know what it is? You know what your mission is? All right, that's okay. It's probably printed somewhere, I'm sure, a website. Maybe it's on the bulletin. Have you ever thought that an individual person can have a mission statement? I developed, in my mid-30s, a personal mission statement, which has guided me for 40 years. The purpose, the mission of my life is to be in my life situation as it really is, with myself as I really am, with God as God really is. Now, I admit that that last part is a hefty challenge. I mean, who among us truly knows who God really is? But isn't this part of the spiritual journey to seek the truth, to know ultimate reality, to know God? So of those three parts in my personal mission statement, the one that I have the most influence over is to be with myself as I really am. There is nothing like a tragedy to wake yourself up to who you really are. I was on one of my retirement road trips nearly 4 years ago when it came time for me to leave and make the 5-day journey from Ohio back to Bend. And it was somewhere west of Indianapolis where I had this crazy idea popping into my head. My wife, Kim, was scheduled to fly to Seattle early Thursday morning to visit our daughter and family. What if I drove straight through to surprise her? Could I actually do it? Tears spilled from my eyes as I contemplated my love for her and this wild idea. And I decided to do it, or at least try. So I drove, and I drove, and I drove. Didn't go fast. Took time to notice the sunsets and the sunrises. And when darkness arrived or a big city traffic threatened to overwhelm me, I employed my favorite spiritual practice. I smiled. And every time God showed up to fill my anxious heart with peace. Now, I thought I wasn't going to make it when I hit snow in Wyoming. This is February. 5 hours of snowy driving and wind through Wyoming. And every town ahead was reporting snow. But I just kept driving. Now, Kim ruined the surprise when she checked my Google Map location. I should have taken that location sharing off. She could see my little blue dot moving in Utah. And so she wondered and asked me what was going on. I said, well, honey, if anyone ever asks you if your husband did something crazy for love, you can tell them that he drove 2,300 miles in 46 hours so he could see you before your trip. Actually, I was glad she found out because my arrival time was going to be about 11 p.m. here, and I didn't know how I was going to sneak into our house with her in bed and surprise her and scaring the bejeebers out of her. I tell that story because it leads up to this story. Word of my endeavor reached our 4 adult children, and so I was in Boise Thursday night when my phone rang. My youngest son, Jeremy, was with a friend in Anchorage, and he said to his friend, "I need to call my old man. He's doing this crazy drive across the country." So we talked about the Super Bowl, which had just happened, and his Rams had just beat my Bengals, and I wasn't happy about that. But I would be taking him out to a fancy dinner at a nice restaurant next time we got together. It was friendly banter, the kind that emotionally connects a father and son. And when it was time to end our conversation, I said, "I love you, son." And he said, "I love you, Dad." And those were the last words we ever said to each other. On Friday, February 19th, my phone woke me from a deep sleep at 2:29 a.m., and it was a call that every parent dreads. And instantly my mouth went dry, my chest tightened. Jeremy had been transported in Anchorage to a hospital after he collapsed while driving home that night. He experienced an AVM, arteriovenous malformation in his brain. And after a chaotic journey to Alaska, we walked into Jeremy's ICU room, and we didn't know it then, but he was already gone. That was evident when the neurosurgeon showed us the MRI scan of his brain. And so the next several days were spent at his bedside as close friends and family came to say goodbye and do the preparations for organ donation. Here is when the toilet story happens. You're not going to believe this. Jeremy and Sam, they grew up as buddies in church. Several years ago, they came to Bend to hang out with the parents, as Jeremy liked to call us. Now, you need to know that both of our sons, I don't know if I should say this here, but I'm going to, had a history of clogging up toilets with toilet paper. And we were downstairs when all of a sudden there was water streaming from the ceiling. Sure enough, the toilet had been clogged. We cleaned it up, assessed the damage. It cost us $400 to repair the ceiling, and Jeremy gladly paid it. Fast forward to Jeremy's ICU room, and now Sam is in there, crying big tears as he bids goodbye to his childhood buddy. That's when I learned that it was Sam who clogged up the toilet 5 years earlier. Jeremy never took responsibility, paid for the damage, and never said a word to me. And so when I say that my son inspires me to be a better person, this is what I'm talking about. I want to be this kind of generous and loyal person. So in the midst of all of our family's pain and grief that followed, we began to experience some good news. My therapist brother said, grief expands the cracks in a family system. Grief expands the cracks in a family system. And I had come to experience those cracks in the coming weeks and months following Jeremy's death. I did not want to be with myself as I really was, but darn that mission statement. I had no choice but to see clearly who I was. And so our family began gathering by Zoom on Sundays to talk about our grief journeys. I can't explain it, but suddenly we needed to talk about the ways that we had wounded each other in the past. And guess who was the chief target? I had spent decades investing lots of energy into avoiding negative criticisms. And Jeremy's death proved to be a major turning point in our lives. We were not going to live disingenuous lives anymore. We were not going to pretend. It was time to see through one another to the real person inside and feel the pain of how we had treated one another. In a nutshell, I was highly controlled by society, by my church, school, family, and there were no emotionally safe places for me as a child. Emotions were rarely discussed, and if you're my age or older, you probably get that generation. Feelings such as anger were spiritualized. We were told to pray them away. And this was one of the powerful narratives that became a part of my psyche. So let me ask you, do you know what are some of the narratives that are playing like tapes, looping in your mind, in your heart? The stories that you've been telling yourself for years? My response to a challenging childhood, which included being bullied, was to act in proper ways on the outside. As long as I could solicit compliments about how well behaved I was, or how well I worked with children, or what a great preacher I was, I felt good about myself. So my emotional temperature rose and sank with how others perceived me. And this fit nicely into my firstborn people pleaser role. How many of you are firstborns? Yeah. People pleasers, you get that, don't you? Well, you don't have to be a firstborn to be a people pleaser. I do know that too, right? So I assumed as a kid and then a young adult, I assumed roles that garnered praise from others. President of our youth group, being the class clown in high school, being the cool science teacher in middle school, becoming a senior pastor, getting a doctoral degree. The problem was, none of these roles mattered to my family. And because I saved most of my energy in propping up these public roles and images, I didn't have much left for my family. And so the consequence was I showed my real wounded self at home. I was moody, impatient, and angry. My wife and 4 children learned to coexist with my unpredictable behavior. They experienced a disconnect between what I was preaching and teaching in church and how I acted at home. And when life became too tense at home, we all saw counselors at various times. But it wasn't until Jeremy died that I truly saw myself as I really was. I began to see more clearly and to face up to my truth, a journey where I confessed harm that I had done to each of my beloved family members. So I began seeing a therapist, talking with pastors, my doctor, engaging in meditation, spiritual fasting. And my main goal in this inner work was to become undefended. In fact, I wrote a little book called, by that title, Undefended. To move from a defensive posture to an open one. To really and truly stop worrying what other people thought of me. 3 months after Jeremy's death, my oldest son Ryan and I were here in Bend. We went to a brew pub. And we were sitting having a beer and pretzel, and at one point we were talking about the meaning of Jeremy's life and his death. And I told him this story. I had never told it to him before. I loved growing up with my 2 younger brothers. We did everything together as kids. But we grew up, we married, we had children, and even though we didn't live in the same state, we maintained our friendship and bond as brothers. Now, after our first 3 children were born, my wife and I thought we were done with children, and we began using birth control. And when we learned that she was pregnant with Jeremy, but we didn't know it at the time, we were exhausted. And we hugged each other for a long time in that kitchen once we found out. But because I valued my relationship with my brothers, I so wanted our 4th child to be a boy. And when we found out that Ryan was going to have a brother, I was ecstatic. So I'm telling this story in the brew pub here in Bend. Ryan listened, and then he said, "Dad, having Jeremy was the greatest gift you ever gave me." Tears instantly streamed down my face. Right there in the center of that busy pub, Ryan got up out of his chair, sat on my bench with me, and put his arm around me while I cried. Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful to him for how he's coping with the death of his brother and his best friend. We are talking and healing together. So friends, this is my story. What's yours? And do you have someone in your life that you can tell your story to, who will see through you to what's inside your heart? For if you're weary of pretending to be someone you're not, it is possible to see yourself as you really are. And you don't need a tragedy to force you to examine your inner life. You don't have to be afraid of what will happen if you toss aside that comfortable blanket of defensiveness. For the good news is that freedom lies just behind the walls that we erect to protect our image. Freedom is found in forgiving others and forgiving ourselves. So may our prayer be that we all would learn to see deeply into the hearts of others and to be seen deeply by others. This is our hope. Thanks be to God. Amen.
It's not always easy to see ourselves clearly. Sometimes we see things we don't recognize. Sometimes we see things that make us uncomfortable. Sometimes we see things we don't want to see. Sometimes we see things that we don't need anymore, that don't serve us, that we can let go of. This time of year is the calendar changes. People think about a fresh start, a new year. As Noreen said during our Time for All Ages, when we let go of things, we create some space in ourselves. And in that space, we can fill it with more of who we are, that honest version, that defenseless version that says, I'm okay as I am. And so with those pieces of paper that you wrote this morning, I'll invite you to come up and put it in our flame. That's flash paper, and so it's going to go like this. Really quick, but I'll invite you to drop your paper on the flame rather than hold your paper as it catches fire, because it will make you jump and it will startle you. And if you're uncomfortable with that, you can hand your paper to me, and I can put it on the flame as well. So we'll do this. If we just want to come up, and you can come up the middle aisle and return to your seat through the back. And Debbie's going to start us.
Many people put them back in the baskets.
Okay.
Rather than keeping them, so I'll give those to you.
Some folks put theirs back in the baskets. We're just going to burn these. Anne said, these are not all mine, I promise. And you got a lot going on here. I hope these for you, this release, as I see these words written on here. It can be hard to name things. There's nothing in this bowl anymore except a flame. You please rise and body your spirit as we sing our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home, to bring us into the new year. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urge me on, great the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
One for coffee hour after the service, and really hope and encourage you to say hello to somebody new. Please remain standing and join me in singing our unison reading of our covenant, the promise that we make to one another as Scott extinguishes the chalice. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
If you were to craft your own personal mission statement, I would offer these words as a blessing for your consideration. The purpose of your life, may it be how deeply you love, how gently you live, and how gracefully you let go of all the things that were not meant for you. Go in peace.